The U.S. Congress recently approved a bill that authorized $717 billion in defense spending for the 2019 fiscal year. President Donald Trump on Monday signed the National Defense Authorization Act into law. The NDAA makes clear that most U.S. lawmakers share the view of the White House and the Pentagon regarding great power competition with China. The law says Beijing is one of the top challenges the U.S. faces in the years ahead. The NDAA also accuses Beijing of economic espionage and technology transfers from America and requires the Department of Defense to make efforts to spy on Chinese military power. China issued a strongly worded statement against the U.S. law. The statement said, "The content of this law abounds in Cold War thinking, exaggerates the level of the China-U.S. confrontation, and interferes in China's internal affairs." The U.S. has long been worried about what experts have called the rise of China and its evolvement from a regional power to a global player.
China even launched a new military division to oversee its warfighting programs in space. Just like the air, the land, the sea.
With China growing militarily stronger and economically stronger, they are in fact way ahead of the United States on some issues. I've got a contact who lived for a while in China, and she told me about the vastly superior train and subway system. And she recently went to New York and saw the subways there and was appalled at how filthy and dirty they were compared to what was in China.
The NDAA is signed into law by Trump at a time when the U.S. is engaged in a trade war with China. Trump has imposed heavy tariffs on imports from China. The Chinese government has taken retaliatory measures.
Well, both the economic and the military competition are feed upon one another, or perhaps are tied to one another. As long as China continues to expand, the United States fears a competitive economy. We're going to see more of this, and we're going to see America with blinders on, not recognizing its own situation in the world, not recognizing that it's getting steadily weaker in terms of other countries.
The U.S. would seek a China collapse, but the East Asian country is the world's second largest economy and is no soft target. A professor of economics at Georgetown University believes the U.S. measures against China will have an adverse effect on other countries as well.
As we all know, China is a nation that not only does a lot of manufacturing, but many of the inputs that go into the China manufacturing base are sourced from other countries all over the world. So therefore, a slowdown in the manufacturing possibilities for China will also mean that other nations will, in a sense, also feel the impact and catch a cold as a result.
The National Defense Authorization Act is not just about Chinese activities and influence inside the U.S. It's also critical of Beijing over the South China Sea disputes. The law requires the Pentagon submit reports to Congress about what it describes as Chinese escalations in the South China Sea. The U.S. sides with its allies regarding the maritime row. The body of water is China's periphery of regional influence. Chinese President Xi Jinping told Pentagon Chief James Mattis in late June China is committed to peace in the sea, but will not relinquish even 1 inch of its territory.